Okay, hello everyone. Sorry we got started a few minutes late, but welcome and thank you for joining Oceantic Network's 2024 IPF Know Before You Go webinar. My name is Michelle Smith. I'm the marketing director here at the network. We are very excited to see all of you at IPF in under 2 weeks. As a reminder, IPF takes place this year, April 22nd to 25th. In New Orleans at the Memorial Convention Center. The goal of today's webinar is to help you plan and prepare for the conference so that you can maximize your time during the whole week. We should have time at the end for questions. So as we go through the webinar, if questions pop up, feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll address them at the end. Next slide, please. So to get started, what is IPF? For those of you who are new to IPF or haven't attended in a few years, the International Partnering Forum is the largest offshore wind and ocean renewables energy conference in the Americas. We have thousands of attendees coming that include global energy leaders, small businesses, government representatives, and many more. The goal of our annual event is to facilitate networking opportunities for you to help you grow your business, to educate the industry on innovations in technology and advances in policy, and support the advancement of offshore wind and ocean renewables here in the US and around the globe. This year, the network believes the industry is facing what we are calling a sea change. So we've shifted from pilot projects to reality of commercial scale construction in the water. And the horizon this year looks very different than it has in the past. And we believe that IPF is where this sea change comes to life. So we are excited to dive in with you and share all the great content we have lined up this year. IPF, of course, is hosted by Oceantic Network. We are an educational nonprofit with nearly 500 members, and our driving mission is to inform and connect individuals and businesses to advance the offshore wind industry. And since our rebranding last fall, that now includes a broader suite of ocean-based renewable energy sources. Finally, I'd like to offer a special thank you to all our IPF sponsors and partners, but most especially our host sponsors, RWE Renewables, Shell Renewables and Energy Solutions, BP, and Fugro. Thank you. Your support makes this conference possible. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, to start, let's review the basics. If you haven't registered yet, please go to our website and register today. We do take registrations at the door, but note that it is an extra $200 fee. So take care of it now, avoid the hassle and extra fee, and get registered. 2024ipf.com has all the registration information you need. And remember, this year, it's IPF week. Programming starts bright and early Monday morning and goes through Thursday afternoon, and it's all inclusive. So all the tours, networking events, workshops, plenary, exhibit hall, everything is included with your pass this year. You don't have to pay for additional add-ons. Next slide, please. Okay, so if you've registered, great. Next, we want to make sure that your travel is booked, whether you're flying, driving, or taking the train. The airport in New Orleans is only 20 minutes from the convention center and the network's block of hotels, making it very convenient for travel. Speaking of hotels, if you haven't booked yet, the network has secured a block of hotels through Key Bookings Housing Services. That's on our website as well. Our special rate has passed, but you can still book through them to make sure you have low rates and convenience right near the convention center. A reminder to check the weather before you attend. In late April in New Orleans, the weather tends to be 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. It can be very humid and it can be rainy. This also means there will be air conditioning in the convention center and other venues, so make sure you dress in layers and plan accordingly. Lastly, new this year, we have water filling stations throughout the convention center, so please bring your reusable water bottle. We're really working hard to reduce our event waste and would love your help with that. Next slide, please. Okay, so now that you've registered, you've booked your travel, with the event in less than 2 weeks, it's a good time to start preparing. So one of the first things you want to do is set your goals. Who do you want to meet with at the conference? What companies do you want to visit in the exhibit hall? We have an exhibitor listing on our website. We have a list of attending companies on our website as well that's updated every week. So start planning now and think about who you want to connect with at the show. We have a great agenda this year. If you go to our website, you can view the full agenda. You can search by day, what's happening each day. You can filter by workshop track, and we also have a search bar, making it very convenient to find all the content you're looking for. It is a very busy, packed week, so we also want to remind you to make sure to schedule some downtime. We're offering Fun Run again this year, and new this year, we're also offering yoga, so you can add those to your registration as well. Okay, next slide, please. So one of the best tools to help you prepare for the event is our app. We launched our event app last week. You can scan the QR codes on the screen or go to our website for complete download instructions. In the app, you can create your own personal schedule. You can add workshops, networking events, sessions, everything's in one spot. You can also view all our sponsors, exhibitors, and speakers. Also new this year in the app, we have a map of the exhibit hall and convention center, which I think is a great tool because you can look at it before the event and orient yourself so you know where everything is. But most importantly, we will use the app throughout the week to communicate with all attendees. So we'll send out push notifications with any major announcements. If there's a schedule change or a room change or anything we need to share with you, it will be through the app. So I encourage you to download that today and have it ready for the event. Okay, next slide, please. And then one of the main features of our app, of course, is WindMatch. If you're new to IPF, WindMatch is Oceantic Network's networking tool. You can book half-hour meetings with all attendees if they've given permission during registration, and you can start setting up your meetings now. We launched this last week. People have already started setting up their meetings. We have a WindMatch meeting area in Great Hall B on level 1. You can meet there. We also have lots of meeting areas throughout the convention center, which we'll share later in the webinar. But it's a great tool to set up meetings with the people you want to meet with and plan ahead and get it done now. Next slide, please. Lastly, I want to encourage you to promote your participation at IPF. IPF is a big networking event where you can meet everyone in one place, and it's a great time to let your network know that you'll be there. We have a promotional kit on our website where we have sample social graphics. So if you're an attendee, a speaker, an exhibitor, a sponsor, or a media partner, we have graphics for you. We have sample copy. We encourage you to tag us on social media and use our event hashtags. We love resharing all the content that you put out there, and it's a great way to connect and let everyone know you'll be in New Orleans. Next slide. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Renee, and she'll share an overview of logistics while you're at the event.
Thanks, Michelle. Good morning, everyone. We're very excited to see you all in a few short weeks in the Big Easy. This is the first year we are hosting IPF in New Orleans, and we are looking forward to a great event. Next slide, please. So IPF takes place at the Morrow Convention Center, located in the heart of downtown New Orleans. The main entrance is on Julia Street, and registration is just steps away. We will have a coat and luggage check inside and near Hall B on Wednesday and Thursday. So please keep that in mind as you are traveling to and from the convention center. All of the events take place in the convention center except for the Workforce Summit, which will be held at the Hilton Riverside, as well as the Training Alumni Reception on Wednesday, also at the Hilton Riverside. Offshore Wind Drinks Live on Wednesday evening will also take place at the House of Blues. So everything else will be at the convention center. Next slide. So as I mentioned, we're at the convention center, and the convention center has strict rideshare zones. So what that means is that you can only catch rideshare, such as Uber and Lyft, at specific areas in the convention center. It's called the Transportation Hub, or you can walk across the street from the convention center and catch an Uber or Lyft at the Marriott Warehouse Arts District. Next slide. So on this diagram, you will see this is the convention center is very large. So bring your walking shoes for sure. And the convention center, that rideshare location, you can see it on the diagram. It has a red circle around it. It's in front of Hall G. So you want to make sure that if you are grabbing a Uber or Lyft, that you go to that area in order to do that. If not, you can walk across the street, like I mentioned, to the Marriott. Our conference takes place in halls B through D, so that just gives you a point of reference as to where it is in relation to where our events will be held. Next slide, please. So in terms of getting around, there's a few things that you want to keep in mind, particularly when it comes to walking around and safety. We recommend that you travel in groups and avoid walking alone on unlit streets at night. I would also recommend, New Orleans is just like any other city. There is crime. However, we recommend that you walk in pairs or groups throughout the conference, even during the daytime. You want to pay attention when you're walking around. If you're using your smartphone, you can be a target in that regard. Also consider removing your convention badge when leaving the convention center. That is also a prime indicator that you are not from that area and out of town. Also, we want to make sure that you are safe in your hotel. So make sure when you are in your hotel room that your door is fully closed and locked. And that when you are getting a ride share, that you make sure that the person picking you up is the person in your app. So go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So in the unlikely event of an emergency while you're in the convention center, please call the number listed on this slide. This will also be in the app. We don't want you to call 911. This emergency number connects to the convention center, and it will allow us will allow the convention center to direct any kind of emergency services to get to you in a expeditious manner. The other thing is that we will have an emergency medical office across from Exhibit Hall B on the first level, and lost and found can be found at registration. Next slide, please. So this year, the exhibit hall opens early on Tuesday. We're opening at 1 p.m. And so you want to make sure that you plan out your time in the exhibit hall in advance. There are lots of exhibitors to visit with. So make sure you mark this in your schedule inside of the app. New this year, the exhibit hall is closed during the plenary session on Wednesday so that everyone can make sure to attend the plenary. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, the exhibit hall is where it's at, and we have over 300 exhibitors for this week. So please make sure to take time to check out the list of exhibitors. Also, you can find that through the app or on the website. And there are also several sessions in the exhibit hall. What's New in Spinning and Global Insights will be held on the Sea Change stage. These are short presentations, about 20 to 30 minutes apiece. So make sure you put those in your schedule. We also will have Startup Alley on Wednesday and Thursday, and Kidwind on Thursday. And then finally, the poster reception will be held inside the exhibit hall on Wednesday afternoon. Next slide, please. In addition to all of the content and opportunities to meet other attendees and exhibitors, you'll want to take advantage of the time between sessions for networking breaks. We have plenty of refreshments inside the exhibit hall. We have the hub, which will have an espresso bar and smoothie bar. We also have a coffee lounge. We have a networking lounge. We have a charging lounge. A lot of different places where you can network and plenty of places where you can find coffee. And if you are an exhibitor, you'll want to make sure that you visit the network business office and book your booth and sponsorship for 2025 IPF. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, the networking activities, also social activities, some other things that you want to make note of, IPF is known for networking, so you don't want to miss these particular activities. In particular, that I haven't mentioned, Planet Wind premiere. We do have some spots still available. That's on Tuesday evening. It's at the Civic Theater. Our member reception, sorry, I'm going backwards, on Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. And we also have our spin welcome reception on Tuesday, and Wednesday we also have another spin reception. Those are both in the exhibit hall. We also have a next wave networking reception for our attendees that are under 35 years of age. And I mentioned previously our Offshore Wind drinks, which is going to be at the House of Blues on Wednesday evening. So you'll want to make sure that you schedule time to network and, of course, time for yourself. It is a very busy week, so make sure you get plenty of rest and drink lots of water while you're there. Next slide, please. Other things to kind of keep you fueled up for the week, we have a number of meals and coffee available for you. We have many different areas with coffee, so you'll be able to stay caffeinated and hydrated the entire week. This slide outlines that. Take advantage of our coffee stations in the exhibit hall as well as on the second floor, and then the smoothie and espresso bar all week long in the exhibit hall. Next slide, please. Also important is food. One of the perks of attending IPF is that our attendees are well fed. We strive to offer food and refreshments throughout the event so that you can focus on networking and attending sessions. Please note that we do not provide dinner, so please plan those meals on your own. You can visit our website for a list of local restaurant recommendations, and there are lots of them in New Orleans. Next slide, please. So there are a number of different areas, as I mentioned, for networking and meeting spaces, but just to go over those again, there is our Wind Match area. So if you download the app, you will also be able to connect with other attendees and set up one-on-one meetings with individual attendees, either in our networking or in our Wind Match area or at a location on your own. You can also network with attendees in the member lounge, in the Rivergate room, the hub inside of the exhibit hall, the networking lounge inside the exhibit hall, coffee lounge, charging lounge in the exhibit hall, as well as our Oceantic booth. We also have lots of meetup areas throughout the convention center, so there should be no shortage of places where you can find a place to meet with other attendees and no lack of meeting space. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jamie Buck, who will discuss the member benefits at IPF.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jamie Buck, and I am the Business Development and Membership Manager here at the Oceantic Network. So as Michelle and Renee mentioned, I highly recommend mapping out your IPF strategy ahead of the conference. I want to encourage all of our members to reach out to me leading up to the conference in the next week. As a reminder to all members on this call, one of your many membership benefits includes industry introductions. This means that if you identify companies who you are looking to meet with, you can let me know ahead of time and I can make introductions leading up to the event with the appropriate points of contact at those companies. I also want to reiterate that you should all use our IPF app, especially the Wind Match feature, which allows you to directly reach out to attendees and schedule individual networking meetings. Additionally, be sure to drop by the member lounge to pick up your exclusive member gift. And lastly, I want to encourage everyone to drop by and visit me at the Oceantic Network booth number 1219. For those of you who are members, please stop by to discuss how best to leverage your benefits. And for those of you who might be interested in membership, I would love to discuss your organization's business development goals to determine if membership is right for you. Additionally, we have the member reception that will be held on Monday at 6:30 p.m. We have a member lounge that you can come in and use to take a break. And you can utilize the meeting space that we have in our Oceantic Network booth as well. And yeah, so as always, please be sure to reach out to me with any questions. And now, without further ado, I would like to turn it over to Carly.
Thank you so much, Jamie. My name is Carly Milligan. I'm the senior writer and content developer here at the network. We have a fully packed week of content ahead. We've been working hard to put this together for you all, so I'm very excited to share an overview to help you plan your time. I'm going to do a day-by-day breakdown, starting off with Monday, April 22nd. This is when we're kicking off IPF week. Next slide, please. This year, we are hosting 3 local tours in the New Orleans area. They've been extremely popular, so we've added more space and now have room on all 3. If you'd like to add one of the tours to your registration, go ahead and sign into your accountant's event and add the tour to your itinerary for no extra cost. We will take a few limited walk-ins for these tours, but please note they start very early Monday morning, so we cannot guarantee you a spot unless you are pre-registered. Next slide, please. If you can't make the tours, consider attending the U.S. Offshore Wind Market Update. This runs from 1 to 5 on Monday in the Convention Center. At this event, speakers representing states up and down the East Coast are going to speak about how they're working collaboratively to build up the U.S. supply chain. We're also going to hear from leaders from multiple federal government agencies, and we'll close out the day with a panel discussion between members of our West Coast Supplier Council. This is going to be a fantastic session for Monday, so please be sure to come early, and you'll get to be the first in front of some of these government and industry leaders before more people arrive later in the week. Another very popular Monday session is our project management training. This was previously sold out. However, we've added more spots now due to high demand. Similarly, you can add this in your registration, and these project management trainings will provide a toolkit that cover every stage of managing a project, from planning to managing risk and knowing how to make the right decisions at the right time. Participants who partake in the project management training will earn 4 contact hours toward their PMI credential, so that's a nice extra perk. Next slide, please. On Tuesday, we'll be bringing back our very popular Workforce Summit from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Hilton, which is next door to the Convention Center. There are still spots available, and in fact, you don't have to be registered for IPF to attend the Workforce Summit. If you know people local to New Orleans who would like to attend, please encourage them to register. Also on Tuesday, we have 2 new sessions that are designed to help you orient yourself and get the most out of IPF. At 10:30, we'll be having New to IPF, which is where network staff will help orient you to the history of the conference, kind of show you what to attend each day, and then give you a tour of the exhibit hall. Following this session, we have something called New to the Industry, Offshore Wind Insights and Networking. This is a great beginner-friendly session. It will open with a panel of seasoned experts who will talk a bit about how they got into the industry. After that, you'll have the opportunity to do some small group Q&A with them and other industry experts, and then go on a guided walking tour of the exhibit hall where you'll be introduced to key companies. If you're unable to attend the project management training on Monday, we've also added 2 sessions on Tuesday. Tuesday also marks the start of 2 types of programming that will continue throughout IPF week. As previously mentioned, What's New in Spinning and Global Insights will both be taking place in the exhibit hall on the Sea Change stage. To tell you a little bit about these 2 sessions, What's New in Spinning is back this year with a fresh focus. You'll get to hear directly from developers about project updates and learn about their procurement processes to better understand how to work with them. For Global Insights, leaders across the world would take to the stage and share insights about their markets, as well as strategies and technologies that could be applied here in the US as we continue to grow our industry. At the bottom of the slide, we've listed 2 sessions that are unfortunately sold out, but it's a good reminder to register early next year. That includes our Supply Chain Showstopper session, as well as the 3 sponsored lunch options on Tuesday. So if you're not registered for one of those lunches, please be sure to make lunch plans for Tuesday. Lunch will be provided subsequent days on Wednesday and Thursday. Next slide, please. Wednesday morning, we start bright and early with our opening plenary. We are so thrilled to welcome these esteemed speakers to our plenary stage, who include the Secretary of the Interior, Deb Haaland, Deputy Secretary of Energy, David Turk, NYSERDA President and CEO, Doreen Harris, and several others. Next slide, please. Also at the plenary session Wednesday morning, we will have a panel introduced by Amanda Dash, Vice President of Renewable Generation Americas for Shell Energy, with several key industry leaders seen on this slide, representing Fugro, Atlantic Shores Offshore Wind, BP, and RWE. Bloomberg reporter Josh Saul will be returning again this year to moderate the discussion, which will focus on the industry's shift from planning to construction and all of the challenges and opportunities that go along with that industry growth. Next slide, please. After the plenary on Wednesday, we are so excited to launch our brand new Float On Summit at IPF. Float On is a day-and-a-half event dedicated to sharing knowledge, best practices, and innovations in floating offshore wind. This is part of IPF, and you'll be able to move between Float On and other IPF content as you see fit. We have a robust agenda planned, so please be sure to take a look online and see exactly who's speaking when. One thing to highlight is that Wednesday morning, the session will open with remarks by Governor Janet Mills of Maine. So don't be sure to miss that. Next slide, please. Wednesday is also when our slate of close to 70 workshops is going to kick off. This year, workshops span 13 tracks from port and vessel and grid and transmission to policy, stakeholder engagement, O&M, and so much more. There's truly something for everyone this year at IPF. Our What's New in Spinning and Global Insights programming also continue on this day. And for lunch, you can grab a plate and listen in to a vessels briefing from Clarkson's. In the evening, our Startup Alley winners will participate in a pitch competition in the exhibit hall. And at 5:30, the winners of our innovative posters will be announced at a reception. I know there's a lot going on, but save up some energy because we've got offshore wind drinks live at the House of Blues starting at 8 p.m. and running late into the night on Wednesday. Next slide, please. We will also start bright and early Thursday morning at 8:30 with the network's very popular regional briefings. This year, we have 6 different briefings to choose from. So you can hear the latest updates from regions across the US, including the Great Lakes, Gulf of Mexico, Mid-Atlantic, New England, New York and New Jersey, as well as the West Coast. Also on Thursday, our Float On Summit returns for the second day. This starts at 9:45 and runs until about 4:30. We also have a whole host of new workshops on day 2, as well as even more programming with What's New in Spinning and Global Insights, as well as the second day of Startup Alley. For lunch on Thursday, I recommend checking out a special session featuring speakers from New York who will discuss the state's Master Plan 2.0. This focuses on the expansion of offshore wind into even deeper waters off the state's coast. And of course, you'll have one more chance to mix and mingle at the closing reception where we will announce the date and location for 2025 IPF, so stay tuned for that. Of course, don't forget, this is actually only a high-level overview of everything you can attend at IPF. There is so much more to explore, and we encourage you to dig into the agenda. As mentioned earlier, you can use the filters and search functions to find the sessions best suited to your interests. Next slide, please. And of course, it wouldn't be IPF if you aren't having a ton of fun. Go ahead and take a look at our fun run where you can run or walk around New Orleans on Wednesday morning or relax with yoga on the terrace Thursday morning. Of course, we don't want you to leave the conference, but New Orleans is a beautiful city, so please take some extra time to enjoy it and all it has to offer. Next slide, please. With just 2 weeks to go, if you aren't already registered, please don't wait. As Michelle mentioned earlier, there is an additional fee if you register on site. So go ahead and scan that QR code and get registered if you aren't already. All right, thank you all for your time. I'm going to turn it back to Michelle, who can answer any questions that may have come up in the chat.
Okay, thanks, Carly. If you do have any questions that came up, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We can answer them right now. I do see we had a question about lunch that we replied to, but just so everyone is aware, we do provide lunch on Wednesday and Thursday inside the exhibit hall. You can also attend the vessel briefing lunch on Wednesday and the New York lunch on Thursday in Great Hall A and D. If you did not register for the sponsored lunches on Tuesday, please make lunch plans for that day. And the other question about sharing slides, yes, we did record the webinar and we will share slides in the webinar to anyone who registered for this, and we'll also put it on our website as well. Okay, if there's no additional questions, we can wrap up, but I'll just give it another second to see if anyone has any other questions. What date? Okay. So I have a question about a Q code. I'm not quite sure what that refers to, but it might be referring to the app in WindMatch. If you go to our website, we have a whole page that has instructions on how to download the app and a separate page on WindMatch as well. It has a tutorial video everything you need for step-by-step instructions. Okay, good. I answered it. Any other questions that we can answer?
Michelle, there are a few other questions. I think we've answered the question about what lunches are still open. So the vessel briefing on Wednesday, if you want to sign up for that, you're welcome to modify your registration and add to that. Same goes for the lunch on Thursday for New York. Actually, Wednesday and Thursday, we have lunch in the exhibit hall, which is just a free form lunch, but presentation wise, we have a lunch in the Great Hall, which is for the vessel briefing, and the New York lunch on Wednesday and Thursday. So those two are still open and you can sign up. The Tuesday lunches are actually the ones that are full at this point. Do you have to, there's another question about, do you have to be a member to participate in Win Match? Do you want to take that one?
You do not. Yeah, you do not have to be a network member. You just have to be registered for IPF to participate in Win Match. And you do have to set up your Win Match appointments before the conference starts. So if you haven't done that yet, you can download the app today and start working on that this week and next week.
Next
Renee,
question. Go ahead.
We have a rideshare question about the transportation hub. They're asking if they can use a shuttle from their hotel to the convention center.
If your hotel does offer a shuttle, you can. They should be aware of where they can drop off.
Okay. And then looks like we have one more question. Someone who hopped on late. They have a question about Monday events. On Monday, we do have several events, and the plenary is on Tuesday. And yes, you can still, that is open to everyone.
I see a couple of other questions that have come in, Michelle, if we still have time.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of wait list for sessions that are filled? You want me to take that?
Sure.
So there is no wait list. And let me just clarify. So tours and Planet Wind and our Workforce Summit are areas where we want you to register in advance. You can also register in advance for the vessel briefing and New York lunch. There is no wait list for them. And all of the other workshops and sessions are first come, first serve. So you do not need to register for them in advance. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Also project management. We did ask people to register in advance. So that one is about full, but I think there were a couple of extra spaces still available as of yesterday.
Okay, and we have two other questions, Renee. Someone asked about the dress code. The dress code is business professional throughout the week. And then another question, if they need to sign up for the market update in advance on Monday, you do not have to pre-register. You can just show up. There's no limit on that. All right.
One other question that came up: as an Oceantic Network member, how do I book meeting space at either the booth or the member lounge? You do not need to. You will, if you are a member of the network, you will have access to the member lounge. You do not need to book meeting space. It is one large open meeting room or open room. At your own booth, are you saying? I think the question is at the network booth. Not sure if you can answer that, Jamie or Michelle.
So as Renee mentioned, the member lounge is open to any network members, and anyone's welcome to use our booth for meeting space as well. I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any other questions. Oh, this is a question, Renee, you might be able to answer about, can they move in their own supplies into the exhibit hall on Monday?
I believe if you can hand carry in one trip, you can move your your supplies in. However, anything beyond that, you would need to use our general services contractor Freeman.
Okay.
I think that came from Mark. So Mark, if you have questions about that, I will send you my email address, and if you're happy to, I'm happy to take those separately.
Okay. And then we do have a final question here, which I'm not sure of. Renee, you may know if the tram is near the convention center, that route. It's a good question.
That is a good question. I will have to, I don't think it is,
Okay.
but I will double check.
We can follow up and let you know. Okay. Any other questions? We're happy to answer any questions people have. I'm not seeing any more. Okay, so like I said, we will share this webinar recording and the slides with everyone who registered. We'll have it available on the IPF website. If you have questions that come up in the meantime, you can contact us at registration@oceantic.org. We try to put as much information as we can on the website as well. So we look forward to seeing everyone in less than 2 weeks in New Orleans. See you there.